Hello YouTube, this is Black Sun Goku. This is gonna be another rant video I'm doing. Although this may be old news, this video right now, but it has to do with more about the concept of why, I think the problem issues is gamers, they don't think before they buy. Cause we're in this incident, obviously, it took place in North Carolina. This has to do with the return policy at GameStop. And yeah, the guy did not want his any store credit, but I can understand his situation because the store, I don't work there, but I'm guessing the store credit is really low and is really unfair because you don't get the amount that you paid for, and although you don't get your money back, you get way less than what you spent. And there's more to this situation because yeah, he demolished the game store, but I don't condone what he did. It's this is how a lot of gamers feel inside, but he expressed himself out in the open by thinking, although he may realize it's not okay, but his frustration got the best of him, and eventually this is gonna affect him in the future. They may think, oh, this guy, after witnessing what he incriminated himself after witnessing what we saw on camera now, destroying a GameStop at a plaza is just enough for him not to get hired at a job because he might have possibly already had a criminal record before, or whether he's never had a criminal record, this will for sure affect him in the future because they don't want someone like this. Because when I think of the way he's reacting is almost similar to Incel because it's because he feels like he deserves to get what he wants, and he'll gain whatever he can by being spoiled, being immature, being angry like we witnessed right now. And it does not just apply to this guy, like I mentioned earlier. A lot of it has to do with the hype built around these games. A lot of these gamers are brainwashed. These are toxic gamers talking about I was a gamer too when I was a lot younger, but I didn't let it get to me. I didn't emphasize too much on video games after because I feel like there were games that didn't really interest me. Maybe during my childhood there was a lot of good games because I was young at the time. My brain wasn't fully developed, but now it is because I'm an adult. But the thing is, they're willing to pay full price for these games, not knowing the risk that they're taking. They're convinced simply by watching a few gameplay trailers. But you have to also realize you have to also be sure whether this is the game for you and if it's worth investing in. Because don't buy it simply because how a few of the critics feel. You should also take in consideration the amount of gamers that play the game as well, the amount of people who enjoy it. And sometimes they're very convinced because they'll go to a huge climax theater where they show these really big, impactful games that so many people are willing to spend $80 on, which is in Canada. Yeah, in Canada, that's how much it is in Canadian dollars, but in US, like 60 US. So the point is that these guys are they let the video games influence them to the point that it drives them nuts because of their obsession, of how much they want this game to be how they think it should be. What I mean how they think it should be is they're hoping it be exactly the way the game is to suit their interest. A game where that involves more action, more gameplay, more walkthrough, more development, more characters, more rewards, more experience, and first of all, more things to destroy in the game, to kill, because it kind of rates how good of a gamer you truly are, because especially with shooting games, like I said, I used to play shooting games, but I'll give an example. GTA, one of the more violent type of video games, but it does not influence people to become killers. It's one of those games where it's really exciting, where you get to, although yeah, the more people you kill, the chances are you get to increase your ranking. You get to show off how serious your status is, and then people will approve that, oh, this guy is a great gamer, and obviously people want to have a really strong rep when it comes to video games. That's what it's about, like looking good for all the other players out there, being a role model. People want to invite you through PlayStation and stuff. But for me personally, like I still play games, but not as much as I used to. But I'm sure after this guy, even after wrecking the store, he's gonna come back. I'm not gonna say he's gonna destroy another GameStop, but he's still gonna drop. He's still planning to drop his money on games because that's something he lives for. From what I understand, this guy had a YouTube channel that used to do previous PlayStation games. So this isn't some random person that just decided to destroy a GameStop because he was having a bad day or because he couldn't return his game. This is someone probably who has issues like outside the game store, obviously, and I think right now when he couldn't get his refund on Fallout 76, which was definitely a train wreck. I can guarantee you it was a train wreck. So it was a tragic mess. He returned it because he was hoping to get his money back, but he realized he couldn't. But like that was basically the tip of the iceberg, and that really pissed him off because he realized he just lost $60. And that's why I say I always prefer that I would wait before I drop money on a game because these game developers they're getting what they want, and they're not there for the customer, they're there for the gamers. They're well aware people will invest their money because they know how anxious they are. They can't help, they have that impulse where if they see a game that may be fitting to them, all of a sudden they have to drop money. That's not how you should react personally. If you're willing to spend money on a game, be a game that you've collectively played throughout the trilogies, that you've been able to interact with. Like if there are sequels to the game, like if you've actually been playing the series before and there was no issue you had with it, and there's some type of bond you have with the series, then that's understandable. But then you're still taking the risk that the game's not how it will be later on in the future once you start playing it, because you just assumed that all of a sudden it was a great game because this the prequels. But then it's true that sometimes the sequel turns out worse than the prequel because you don't know what to expect. And you're oh, I just wasted $60-$80, but at least learn from the experience. If you bought one bad game, you should always make sure, like I said, check out gameplay trailers. There's also gamers who are willing to, especially on YouTube, hundreds of them, who are willing to show you willing to go through with you with the steps, what they're doing because they're experienced. They have no problem dropping money because they're getting paid either way. These popular YouTubers out there, so a lot of gamers, and it's helped you understand whether it's worth investing in, because although they may be doing it for themselves. You should use that to your advantage by watching their videos and try to figure out what is the solution and how to end up ripping myself off, and I don't like game developers try to screw me over again and again. And that's what keeps happening over and over because players are not using their brain, they're not thinking straight. Because with games, it's they're gonna be a mess. There's always for example, Fallout 76 was a very glitchy game. It was not even people. I know several people recommended me not to get this game, and I had no plans because I knew it was a bad game simply because a lot of people who shared the same anger with when this guy destroyed the GameStop below the comments. And you could say that all of that built anger was maybe they thought they got ripped off by GameStop, but think about it, they ripped themselves off because they're becoming tools by investing into that store, and then the gamers, the companies are actually a lot more happy while the gamers are feeling miserable. And if you want to keep yourself less miserable, be sure you know what you're doing first. You have to be cautious. And don't just buy it because all of a sudden because I saw a game trailer, it looks really interesting. It looks like a really great game. I expect more from this game. Oh, I'm definitely gonna get my hands on it immediately the moment it comes out. That's not. And then be also because one thing, the final mistake I'm gonna mention is that pre-orders. They pre-order games they're not too sure of. especially even before they see trailers. They pre-order these games. They all of a sudden, before it even like comes out, before it's been like shipped, they all of a sudden they assume it's a great game, that it's worth their money. But then later in the end, well, all of a sudden when they get their game, they insert it into their console. They realize it's a mess. It's all glitchy. It's not what they expect, and they just realize they just wasted tons of money when that money could have went to their bills. And that's how I'm gonna end it today, YouTube. Hopefully you guys comment, like, subscribe to my content, and maybe I'll make similar content or interesting content. That's my goal for this channel, and appreciate the love. Thank you.